Hey again, everybody. Yeah, you guys know who I am, but I am here with Jean O'Quinn.
Hey guys,
Miss Jean is a
love y'all.
beautiful lady, and her husband Bill is right over here beside us. We're going to bring him in a moment. Jean, thank you. Thank you for doing the conversation
Oh, my
with
pleasure. I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad you are too.
I'm so glad to be back. Coming down that road, just coming to the building just made my heart just thrilled my heart.
Oh,
Just to think about the time when we will be here together again with everybody.
I don't think it'll be too
I
long.
hope not.
So what we're doing with Conversations with Pastor is we're just taking the opportunity to introduce some of the great people of our church to all the world, all of the other members who may not have conversations with them. And Ms. Jean, thank you again. Thank you again. So the first question I have for you is, what have you and Mr. Bill been doing during the quarantine? Tell us a little bit about what your life's been like.
Okay. Well, mornings I get off to the same pretty much routine as I do as if I was getting up and getting ready to go to work, except I'm in my pajamas.
I love it.
And, I can work from home a good bit of what I do. I can do from home. And
What is it you do?
I'm a realtor.
Okay.
And so I'm able to do a lot of things on my computer and on my phone, and I'm staying in touch with people and that kind of thing, and that keeps me busy usually till about lunchtime, and then if there's anything else I need to do, I'm still showing houses actually.
Really?
Yes.
Now, real quick about that, how long have you been a realtor?
Since 1985.
I knew it had been some time.
1985.
That's incredible.
Yes.
How many houses do you think you've been a party to selling?
Oh, not as many as I'd like.
Yeah, of course.
It was slow to begin with. I have a lot of repeat business now, which is really the best business that you could ever ask for, or referral business. And so probably, I don't know how many houses exactly. I'm thankful for each and every one.
Sure, that's cool.
My first year was just, it took me, I got in the middle of the year in April. And by the end of the year, I think I had sold maybe 3 or 4 houses, and it was like,
wow.
Do I really want to do this? But you'll find out a little bit more about me and how I am. I'm probably one of the most hard-headed people when it comes to doing things.
I think I'm probably number
I
one.
don't know. But I've got a lot of determination in me when I make up my mind to do something, and when I commit, it's important to me. If I recognize right off the bat that this is not what I want to be doing, then I'll pretty much fess up.
Right.
But if I'm committed, I make that decision in my heart to myself, and I won't stop until something stops me.
That's cool. So the quarantine hasn't stopped you. You've been able to work from home.
Right.
You've been showing houses, right? And Mr. Bill, who's just patiently sitting over here with us. I love Mr. Bill. Can't wait. He's been. What's Mr. Bill been doing? Has he been there with you? Been working from home?
Yeah, he helps me a lot. As a matter of fact, he does a lot of the housework and the yard work. Washes the clothes. He may not want me telling all that stuff.
Yeah, sure he does.
But yeah, he does. He's a great help. He's on the phone a lot too with people.
That's cool.
Because he's such a big people person, and so he's contacting people. And in times like these, that's real important.
It sure
to
is.
Stay in touch with people, and it's an opportunity for me in my business when I'm not showing houses to be on the phone and calling people.
That's cool.
And just saying, how you doing?
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm really glad you're doing that.
Yeah.
And not just for others in our church, but for all of the community.
Right.
It's so important.
Right.
It's so important.
And in the afternoons, we have a big garden.
Oh, I was hoping you'd say something about it.
We do have a big garden. And so we've been working in the garden, and it's almost, like yesterday when I was down on my hands and knees in the tomato plants with straw putting straw over the bottom of the plants and
Wow.
newspaper.
Yeah.
And something eating up my arms, like chiggers biting me or
Really?
mosquitoes biting me, and and I didn't have long sleeves, so the only long sleeve thing I had was like a sweatshirt.
Uh-huh.
So I'm out in a sweatshirt in the bright sun,
Woo.
just and I was just saying, have we just bit off more than we can chew here?
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
But we got her done.
That's cool.
We did. We got her done.
Oh,
So
that's
anyway,
really awesome.
but there's always something to do in the garden,
Mm-hmm.
and that is a place where I find peace there, even in the hard work.
Mm-hmm.
I find it's just so rewarding to work,
Yeah.
to do physical work.
Mm-hmm.
And to see something come from it, and just to be outside.
Yeah.
I'm an outdoors person. I want to be outdoors.
Yeah.
I've been that way all my life.
Yeah, I enjoy working in my yard too.
Mm-hmm.
You know that, and my
Yeah,
flowers
yeah.
and stuff like that. It's always really fun.
That's great.
That's
great.
one interesting aspect about you, right? Is that you like to work outside and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
What is the most interesting aspect about Jean O'Quinn that many of us who go to church with you, or many of your friends and people around, may or may not know? One interesting aspect about Jean.
Probably that for a woman, I am a big sports fan.
Really?
And I love Alabama football.
Do you?
I do.
Okay.
I do. And you can ask any of the girls when we're down at the beach in
I've
the
heard.
end of September or
I've heard.
October, if there's a game on, I'll say, see you ladies, I have to watch this game. So that's
cool.
I mean, I am passionate about Alabama football.
That's cool.
But
Now,
I love college football, all college football. And that's what I've been doing. Some I'm watching TV because we stream things now that we've cut the cord.
yeah, yeah.
And so we're watching games on old games.
Okay.
Watching them over
I
again,
like that too.
We're
I like
doing
that too.
that.
I've
So,
enjoyed that. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't like watching the ones that Alabama lost. I'm an Alabama fan
I'm
too.
gonna handpick the ones.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Because I know the end of the story already, But
Well, they tell me stories. I haven't gotten a chance to watch a ball game with you yet, but they've told me stories.
Oh no.
Especially the Auburn fans that we have, and I'm not going to name any Auburn fans.
Okay.
But,
Okay. That's great. That's great.
But they
We
tell
know
me,
who they are.
Right. We definitely know who they are.
Yeah, we do.
They sit in the special section.
Oh, I love them anyway.
Oh, well, I do too.
I know. We have a lot of fun.
We do. But they say you get pretty
Fired up.
fired up.
I almost had to quit because I almost had to quit watching football because I felt like that I was getting too over the top with it.
Okay.
I mean, it was just, I'd get really upset, about things. And even as a kid,
Oh, wow.
I remember going out on the front porch and just squalling one time about a ball game.
Wow.
And so, when it gets to that point,
Yeah.
it's time to, I got to back off.
Yeah.
I got to back off. But
Where did it come from? Just for a moment, Conversations with Pastor. This is Jean O'Quinn. I'm so glad you're here with us. If you guys got any questions or that you want to ask Miss Jean, you can put them in the comments. Pastor Matthew's up in the sound booth. He's going to be asking those in a moment. But put them down. Where did the love for Alabama football come from? Was it something that your family did?
that was bred in me, I'm sure.
yeah? Okay.
Well, I'm born and raised here,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's just a part of the lifestyle.
Mhm.
If you live in Alabama, you're either Auburn or Alabama.
Right.
So.
Well, you're either Alabama or that other team.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
So Alabama football is an interesting thing about you.
Yeah.
That's really cool. One of the other questions I wanted to ask you was, tell me the story of how you came to follow Christ, and tell me a detail in there, something unique about Jean's commitment and relationship to Jesus and how that happened.
Well, the tail end of the story is, and I don't go back and tell the beginning, but I'm a prodigal.
Wow.
I am, very much so.
Okay.
Giving away my age, let's see, how many years? 59 years ago.
Wow, Jean.
At Vacation Bible School.
Okay.
That was part of what we did in the summer. We went to Bible school. And I was raised up right right in this area, down at the corner of Crescent Ridge Road and University Boulevard in the Knoll.
Okay. Okay.
And Mom and Daddy carried us to Bible school at Hopewell.
Okay.
Which is just right up, well,
yeah, I know.
It's changed now. It's
Hope City.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, I was at Vacation Bible School. And I come home talking to my mom about it because we didn't really go to church back then.
Right.
It was just occasionally we'd go, but Mama and Daddy Daddy would never come, but Mama would go, and she'd take us sometimes to Sunday school, just to Sunday school. But I come home talking about Bible school and how know I'd heard about Jesus and how I wanted to be I wanted to get baptized. Of course, that was what that was the thing. You get baptized and you remember the church. And so Mama told me, she says, well, I think you just don't really understand this, and so I said, well, okay, and another year comes along, I'm back to Bible school. Well, that time she let me.
Wow.
And and I was about 11 years old.
Wow.
And of course, when you're 11 years old and all the kids are all getting baptized, and this is what you were doing, and it was kind of like, yeah, I want to, I want to do that too, I think it was more of a thing back for me then that I felt like I was a part of it.
I see.
Yeah, I was a part of something.
I understand.
But there was such a difference in my relationship with the Lord now than what I understood as a child. We moved not long after that, and we didn't go back to church. And I guess a couple of years went by, we found another church. Mama, and my mother's story changed too. My daddy's didn't change right then. But we got involved in church, and I guess about the time I had gotten to be a teenager, or a young teenager, like 10, 11, 12 years old, I was a little bit of a I don't know how to say it. You know what you just talked about in Romans? How you're supposed to respect authority and being, in authority. Well, I decided that I was my own authority.
Wow.
I guess that was, and from that point, I guess it was just a time where I just gradually, and of course those few years that we didn't go, that I didn't grow any, I didn't understand anything about it, and it became something that was behind me,
right?
And in moving forward, it was more about the time that I grew up had a lot to do with it too. It was in the 1950s.
Okay.
When I first started this story,
right? And
over 30 years of I became that prodigal.
Right.
Over 30 years.
Wow.
That I went through the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. During that time, it was just the best time to be a kid.
Sure.
But when you got to be that teenage, it was, and living in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, I'll never forget, I think I must have been around 11 or 12 years old. And my dad, God love him, he got saved when he's 72.
Wow. Now, how long ago was that? What year was that? Do you remember?
When Daddy got saved?
When he got saved, yes.
Oh, it had to been 30 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, I was such an independent little old kid, but Daddy loved his cars. Daddy loved to play pool, and he played softball. Okay. But men played softball back then on teams, and he played on a team. And I think I must have been. I'm a middle kid.
Okay.
I'm one of three. So anyway, I think I was Daddy's favorite.
Oh, okay.
And I was so much of a tomboy. But anyway, it was a great time to be a kid. But one time in early 1960s, somewhere around that time, he had like I think it was a '59 Mercury.
Okay.
I mean, it was a cool car.
Sure.
I mean, it had the leather seats. It had push-button transmission even.
Oh, yeah.
And the dash would lit up, and it was all different colors, and the kids were just like, oh, yeah. And he loaded us up, and we went down to the corner of what is now 10th Avenue in Greensboro, where the Dale Drive-In Theater used to be.
Okay.
And there was a meeting that night.
Oh, no.
And we parked, and there was, this was so hard, and I think it was a point in my life that I from that point on, I saw a turning point in me. There were men in robes.
Oh, no.
And there was a cross that was burned.
Oh, no.
And I remembered that, it was horrifying as a kid to see that. It's even more horrifying now to think about.
Sure,
This was real life.
It's terrible.
And of course, there was a lot of. I grew up during that period of time, and it was more acceptable, and
Yeah.
And I became more withdrawn into myself, and I think that had to do with me being rebellious.
I see.
And I got into a lot of rock and roll, and like I was a latchkey kind of kid. But back then it wasn't so big of a deal, My sister was at work. My older sister was at work. She started working when she was about 15. My baby sister was in daycare. My parents worked. I was the only kid at home. I would come home and I would crank that music up and I would dance.
I see.
I mean, I would dance. I loved it. But as soon as I got a chance, I was kind of like, okay, I want to be out here in the world. I want to do all of this stuff.
Right.
And it was 30 years.
Right.
Of being that prodigal.
I hear you. So you were in that season of just rejecting some of that nastiness that you saw.
Yeah.
Just kind of just pushing that away.
Maybe I used that for an excuse.
I see.
I don't know.
But you were just out in the world.
I wanted to be in a different place, I think. And so I listened to music and I danced and, anyway, it was all in the house.
Yeah, I understand. What was the year that the prodigal came home? When you just came home to Jesus and you were like, okay, I'm giving it over to him.
1989.
Really? Wow.
Mama was a praying woman.
Okay.
My mama did. She prayed for me. She prayed for Bill. We met in 1975.
Okay.
So we'd been together for a good long while. And it was when I was pregnant with Casey. And the Holy Spirit, the Lord's hand was on me the whole time, And so I kept on, I was under a lot of conviction. And when I was pregnant, I got to thinking, who's going to teach my baby about this?
Oh, wow.
Who's, our baby, who's going to teach our baby about God? Who's going to take her to church? Who's going to, lead her to the Lord?
Right.
And it just hit me, I got to do something. I can't be this person anymore.
Wow. And the prodigal came home,
The prodigal came home.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
She did.
Well, what about a God moment in all that? Maybe not that one, because that's obviously a huge God moment. And it was a huge God moment that when you were exposed to that in the 60s, there was this push away of that ideology and that hatred. That's just nasty and not good. So God was moving in every bit of that, right? But since the 80s, and since your heart is with the Lord and you've been walking with Him on this journey, maybe even recently, what's one of those God moments that you'll share for a second?
Sure.
It's kind of like, okay, this is how God's moved recently.
Okay. Well, this just happened a few days ago.
Okay.
I was looking for my reading glasses. I got up in the morning couldn't find my reading glasses. And I thought, well, I had my iPad when I was laying in the bed and fell asleep. So I had to be reading. I had to have my glasses on. And I'm looking all around the bed for my glasses. And I had a little flashlight and I was shining it down. And I saw a little piece. It's a little scrap notebook paper. And I thought, what is that? Wasn't the glasses I was looking for, but anyway, I had another pair.
Sure.
So I looked at it to see what it was, and it's 2 pages. And I picked it up, and I thought, wow, that was something I had written.
Oh, really?
And I was reading it, and I had written down the names of God.
Wow.
I have it with me, and I decided when I found it, I better put it in a safe place.
Yeah.
Because it meant so much to me. But anyway, I started reading these names back to God and praying them to Him.
Wow.
And it was a God moment. I have a window there by my bed.
Yeah. Wow.
And when I got through reading and praying these names back to God, I saw something outside of that window that just in my peripheral vision. And I looked, and it was a little red bird.
Oh, cool.
And it was just a moment where God had said to me, I'm here. And that little red bird it made me think about how much God loves the birds.
Yeah.
That He knows when everyone falls from the sky.
Right, and he like the scripture says, He provides for them like the sparrow.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
And there's a legend and it's kind of a folklorish type thing about red birds. That when you see a red bird, that means that someone from heaven is near. They're like a messenger.
I've heard that.
And it was like, for me, being all frustrated, and I got up that morning and I didn't do my Bible study. I didn't start the day off praying. I was just like, well, you were talking about it earlier. How you just had to walk out in your yard and start praying. I need you, God. I need you
today.
Put on
Christ.
And now I don't have my reading glasses, so.
Do you want me to read something for you?
The name of above all names.
Right.
Lord God Almighty.
Master.
Lord.
Our Redeemer.
No.
Our banner.
Our Shepherd. The Lord that heals. The Lord is there, and that is so comforting to me, to know that He's there.
Amen.
And that His presence is with you. His presence was with me all of those years.
No doubt. No doubt.
He was there taking care of me and providing for me.
Absolutely,
and taking care of me. Our righteousness.
Amen.
Who sanctifies me. Everlasting God will provide. The Lord of peace, the Lord of hosts, our portion, unchanging. Walks with me through fire. Knows me by my name.
Yes, ma'am.
Sufficient one. Let them praise the name of the Lord, for His name alone is excellent. His glory is above the earth and heaven.
It's Psalm 14, yeah. Is it 148?
145. Okay, I can't tell you.
Yeah, it's 148, yeah.
He restores all. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
He is all we need. I've always said He's our healer, our great physician. Nothing is impossible with the Lord. He holds our life in His hands.
Amen.
That's a part of a song too. And He's all we need.
Amen.
So that was a God moment for me. It was just the other morning, and when I found this laying under there, and I didn't find the glasses I was looking for, but I found something much more important. And I decided, since I said earlier I was going to put it in a safe place, so I put it in my wallet where I normally keep my money.
Okay.
So
There you
whether
go.
or not there's any money there.
Yeah, the word
You
of the
know?
Lord is there, right?
Yeah, and that's better than the money that's not there.
You're right. You're right.
So,
Thanks for sharing that.
anyway, that was a God moment
You're
recently,
right.
and I was, with the tears running down my eyes, when you pray back to the Lord these things, it's the fullness of the Lord is there, and it was all around me,
Absolutely.
and in me, and I came out of that room with that piece of paper, and I showed it to Bill, and I couldn't find it then for a few days. He took it, and I thought, he's got my paper and I'll never see it again. But I started praying about that too,
Oh, that's cool.
and there it was. It turned up right where I left it.
Well, thank you for sharing that with me. That's pretty cool. Thank
So
you.
that was my recent God
Thank
moment.
you. Well, this
You're
is Gino
welcome.
Quinn. We're doing some conversations with Pastor. If you have a question that you want to give Gene, Matthew is back there looking at them, and we're going to go through some of those in just a moment. But before we do that, I want Mr. Bill to come in the shot with us. I want you to join in with us, if you will. So we're going to have to rearrange. Give us a little patience. Let's back up a little bit, Miss Jean. I'm going to put you right here in the center, Mr. Bill. Let me get one of these chairs. Come on in here. I don't know if we're going to be able to squeeze it in or not. Let's back up a little bit more, Miss Jean. See if we can get in here. Matthew, tell us if we're in here. We have to get in pretty tight, he says. So that would be tight enough. Let's see what happens here. Does that look pretty good? All right. So everyone, conversations with Pastor I have with me. We've been talking with Miss Jean O'Quinn, and this is Mr. Bill O'Quinn. Mr. Bill, I'm glad you're here with us, man. Thank you guys for coming and doing this. We think a lot of you guys, a whole lot of you, and we're super thankful for you.
Yeah.
We feel
We
blessed to be here.
Thank you.
Love y'all.
Thank you.
And everybody, I wish you could see these pictures. I wish
pretty
you could
cool.
see them.
They look pretty awesome.
Oh, it just is a thrill to come in here and to see all these faces on these chairs. It's just like seeing you all and just knowing that you're here, and I can't imagine how you felt when you walked in Sunday and saw it. I
very
thought
nice.
when Michelle told me about it, it was like I was just like,
Yeah, it was good.
It's just thrill.
Well, I got a question for Mr. Bill before we get into the questions for Matthew. So if you've got questions that you want to ask Bill or Gino Quinn, put them in the comments. Mr. Bill, tell me about the garden. How many things you got planted in the garden?
Hello, Somaland.
I love it.
I love you.
We love you.
Getting on the subject of the situation at the garden,
Uh-huh.
I actually laid on my back on the ground. And I said to myself, I need to practice what I preach.
Uh-huh.
No pain, no gain.
Okay.
Because it was hot. And the bugs were stinging and biting. And it was a trying experience.
I bet.
But we endured it, and we got her done.
I hear you. How many tomato plants you got planted?
We got about 42 Better Boy tomato plants.
Are you serious?
I'm talking about, I dug 42 holes with a post hole do.
Oh my goodness.
A foot and a half deep.
Oh no.
And just getting the horse manure to go in it was a trying experience. Don't even get me started on that. But I put the horse manure in first, and then of course a handful of triple 13.
Oh, come
I mixed
on.
it up with the dirt that I pulled in around you because I didn't want to get too much triple 13,
Right.
because I didn't want to burn them.
You don't want to burn them up, yeah.
And made the berms around them. And then there was the hay experience.
Oh my goodness.
And I think that's when the bugs got on Gene.
Now chiggers come in that hay straw.
Well,
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I don't know what it is about her, but a mosquito can smell her 100 yards away.
Hey, they might have good taste. You smelled her a while.
They don't bother me because, and it may have something to do with my shirt that she says stinks sometimes.
That's part of the game plan, isn't it?
Better known as body odor. Especially when I get to sweat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anyway, we got her done.
That's
and,
awesome. What all you got planted? You got tomatoes. What else?
We have squash, We have 2 rows of okra. We have beans, and I look forward to looking out for my brothers and sisters out there
We
that
have a
are
lot of stuff.
that we have. Lord be willing, we'll have enough to go around for everybody.
That'd be great.
We have peas and green beans and cantaloupe and cucumbers and
Wow.
2 rows of squash, 3 rows of okra.
Okay.
So it's a big garden.
No doubt. Now, is
Yeah.
this something y'all do every year?
Oh,
or
no.
just the quarantine kind of got you into it? Is that
Yeah.
right?
We were blessed with a garden spot.
Okay.
And
We didn't even have to till it up.
Wow.
the man,
Wow.
he even tilled it up for us.
That's great news.
Yeah.
That's great news. We look forward to sharing with it.
Yeah.
So we got conversations with Pastor Bill and Gino Quinn, and we ask you to put some questions down that you might want to ask. Well, Matthew, we're going to go to you, man. If you got a question for us, for Bill or Gene.
Yeah, I've got a question from Bo Yeager. He wants to know, how did you two meet?
Does he know the answer to this?
It was during the prodigal time. In Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, on vacation. I was on vacation with a girlfriend there, and he was an interior decorator.
No way!
That's what
That's what he told you.
I met him at the Electric Circus.
Interior decorator.
Yeah, and
I was
so,
a paint contractor.
You were a painter, but you told Gene you were an interior decorator.
I was partying with the Alabama band across the road from Electric Circus.
Okay.
At the Bowery Bar.
Okay.
And I told Frank Sands, their personal assistant for many years after that, that I was going, for some reason, I wanted to go across the street and see what band was playing over there, and here she come.
You were attracted to her like one of them mosquitoes, right?
it was like
One of them fragrances.
Well, I'm not going to get into detail.
I love it.
But it was
he kind of grew on me.
I'm sure.
So we've been together for 45 years. We met 45 years ago, April 25th.
Wow, congratulations.
In 1975 at the Electric Circus Bar in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
And you know, I looked on my, I tried to look it up, and I can't find nothing.
Oh, it's long gone. I'm afraid.
Nothing about the Electric Circus.
No, well, y'all shut that place down.
Well, if it didn't do nothing else, it got us together.
Absolutely. The Lord had a hand in all that.
Oh, well.
Maybe the Lord had a hand in nothing else but that.
Well,
Who knows?
that's right. He'll use everything he can to get his people together.
He is amazing how he gets, and you know what? He directed our paths because he knows about all of us.
Mm-hmm.
He knew that we were going to accept him down the road.
Absolutely.
And that's why he let me live through all I've been through.
Oh, Bill, I've heard some of your stories, man.
Yeah.
It's an incredible story. Incredible testimony, what you got. All right, Matthew, you got any more questions?
Yeah, I've got one. Miss Jean, Charlene Faulkner wants to hear one of your funniest stories from the ladies' trip. Something about a lost kitty.
I found him. Well, I mean, we had a pajama night. You know,
I heard about this,
a tacky. Well, everybody, came with the big rollers in their hair and just fun stuff. And so, what stays at the beach goes around. How does that go now?
What happens at the beach
stays at the beach. But we had a pretty good laugh that night. I had pretended to be an old lady. And I had on an old grandma house coat, and I had stuffed some some balloons into my grandma underwear. And I had a little stuffed kitty that I was looking for that got stuck between my balloons. And I snuck up on them with it. So, anyway, I think we all had a pretty good
Absolutely.
laugh anyway.
Y'all have a good time on this
Oh,
trip,
we
don't
do.
you?
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a great time together. I'm telling you, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to see my peeps again.
Mhm.
I miss my peeps.
Yeah. Matthew, you got any other questions?
Yeah, I've got one for me personally. You were talking moments ago about how Mr. Bill helps out around the house, does things. Can Bill cook?
You know, he's got some pretty. He hunts a lot and brings stuff in that I don't want to deal with. I think he likes to food with stuff that I won't cook, like squirrel stew and stuff like that. But he makes a bigger mess in the kitchen. He can throw down, but he makes such a mess in that kitchen that I just soon, do it. But he can survive.
But who cleans it up?
Yeah, he do.
Thank
You do usually behind me. He goes behind me and cleans
That's
up because
awesome.
I don't clean good enough.
Okay, so you're the neat freak then, right? Is that right?
When it comes to the kitchen,
Really?
When it, oh,
just don't mess with his stuff.
I keep a pretty tight shift in the kitchen. I do.
He mops and does all that kind of stuff.
Tell me about, because I think this is interesting. I've always enjoyed this about you. Tell me about your love of the Toyota pickup truck.
I'm into dependability,
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
whether it be a wife
Yeah, absolutely.
to start out with.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
A number one.
After what I put her through, and she stuck by me all them years,
Uh-huh.
she stuck with it.
Yeah.
So I guess that kind of answers the question.
Sure.
If it don't break, stay with it.
That's right. So you got a Toyota. What year is it?
I have a 87 in the backyard that I put a Weber carburetor on, and I'll probably outrun the new ones.
Wow.
I got an 88. That was my original truck. I also love my little 88 extra cab long bed that I put a LC Engineering timing chain, double roller timing chain kit in it, and it just loved the wine. It just good on gas, never let me down nowhere. And I love that 5EZ 3.4 Tacoma, 4-door.
That's the one you drove here tonight, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And the main reason why I got that is because I can carry friends. It's
Sure.
got a seat in the back, and you can keep your tools in your toolbox in the back. Of course, you have a little area where you can haul, things that will fit. But if that don't work as far as hauling something, I go with my 8-foot bed on my little long bed 88 Toyota pickup truck, and it loves to pull a trailer.
How about that?
I just, different strokes for different folks.
Yeah. I think it's very awesome how you like it.
And I don't have to take it to a dealer.
Yeah.
Because 98% of the time I can fix it myself.
That's cool. Can't do that with a new
If
vehicle.
something, I bought an old junk parts truck years ago that's down at my tomato patch that I haven't even had to get a part off, and I've had it down there 20 years.
Wow. That's
I
incredible.
lied. I got a headlight.
Oh, a headlight. Well, one of the things that we like to do with the conversation with the pastor is if you guys have a question for me, you can ask it. So, kind of land the plane here and finish up for the night. If you guys have got a question for me, I'm on the spot. You can ask anything you want to ask.
Go ahead, Jane.
Okay. If you had $1 million,
Oh, this is not fair. I love it.
Well, you probably won't even know. I wouldn't know what I would do if you had $1 million.
So you're asking what I would do if I had $1 million. Okay. I know what I would do. Yeah. Yes, I would continue to pastor. Okay, straight up. What I would do is I would give the tithe to the church. And then I would pay off my mortgage. All right. I would actually pay myself out of debt. I'd pay off the mortgage and pay myself out of debt. And then I would be sure that the kids' college was taken care of. And then I'd save and probably put a significant portion of it into some type of investment that the money would make money. I don't know how that would be or what that would look like, but the money would make money. That's what I would do. Probably do it in that order too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does that sound like a fair plan?
Yeah. You wouldn't buy anything?
Oh yes, yes. My one indulgence is a brand new Corvette.
A Corvette.
I'm definitely getting a Corvette. It is my midlife crisis, and I will have a Corvette one day.
Okay.
But you know
I'm
what?
sure you will.
I want the C7. I don't want the C8 yet. I want the front engine Corvette first, and that's the models.
You'll shoot your eye out.
I know it. I know it. Yeah, I want the front end model first, and then I might get the mid engine. So we'll see.
I had a 327 62 Corvette.
What?
The first 327.
Really?
1962, 4-speed. And if it had wings, it would fly.
Did you get it new?
You had to be careful on the wet road.
I bet you did.
Did I what?
Did you get it new?
No, I didn't. I bought it from a second owner, and don't tell nobody.
Okay. I won't tell nobody.
What happened?
But I had to leave town, and I had to.
Had to get out of town fast.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I had to sell it.
Wait, don't forget we broadcast. We are nationwide.
In trouble now. They know where you are.
Yeah, you're all right. You're all right.
Well, I know how far to fess up.
Yes, sir. It's not your first rodeo, huh?
Not the first time I've been under the light. Let's put it that way.
His dad was a cop.
That's great. That's great. So I do like to ask the $1 million question, right? So I'll ask each of you, right? For $1 million, I don't have a good one. I don't have a good one. And I guess the reason I don't have a good one is I just feel so bad putting you guys on the spot. I love you so much and I respect you and honor you so much.
Well, we can take it. We've been through so much. I know how he is.
But I'll just reverse it and say it this way. What would you do with $1 million, Miss Jean? What would you do? Buy me a Corvette? What would you do with $1 million?
Well, I thought you had some pretty good ideas there. I would want to, I like to go.
Oh, yeah.
I want to go. I've always been like when I was a kid, Mama put me out on the front porch and she put me in a playpen, on little wooden things. Mm-hmm. And she come back. I was gone.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I done climbed over. That thing was out. I was gone. Mm-hmm. And she figured out a way to trap me in there. So I took it apart and got it out. And I was gone. And that's one thing about this pandemic. That's hurting me. Mm-hmm. I like to go. I don't care what it is. Mm-hmm. I want to go too. I want to be out there too. But I would go. I would want to go travel. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would. But I think I would hope I'd have enough of good sense about it to where I would pay myself a salary out of it, invest it, and pay myself a salary out of it, so that there would be a legacy to leave behind, and of course the tithe, and those are. I have a heart for animals too, and this is another thing that we have talked about is. And it's just, I know, it's probably just talk, but, man, I wish we had a place where we could just take in all them stray dogs and we could raise them stray dogs, and have a place for them and, stuff like that. But anyway, that's just because we love animals so much. Sure. But I don't know that I would, when it came down to it, because they really tie you down.
Oh, sure they do.
But yeah,
What would you do for $1 million? Oh, not what would you do? What would you do with $1 million?
I would like to buy some land down on something on the reference of Forever Wild Land, you know, like on the Sipsey, or a place where I could get these young boys interested in the outdoors, whether it be fishing or hunting, like a camp for boys.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Young people. And I think I would like that.
I think you do a good job of that too. I think you do a good job. Well, I am super thankful that you guys would be willing to come in and do this with me.
That's fine.
'Cause I love you guys, and I know the church loves you. Everybody loves you so much.
You too, brother.
We appreciate it. It's been Conversations with Pastor Bill and Gino Quinn. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed it, and you've gotten to know Mr. Bill and Miss Jean a little bit better. We love you. Look forward to getting back together. I'm hoping that in the next few weeks we can start gathering here a little bit more.
That'd be awesome.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So I guess like Romans 13, we got to wait and see what they tell us.
Yeah.
But we'll work it out. Matthew, thank you for doing what you've done,
Thank you,
man. We
Matthew.
love you. We appreciate you very much. Thank you for tonight. We love you guys. We hope you have a good night. God bless.
See ya.
Good to
God
see you. We
bless.
love you.
Love you.
See you later.